In the past, burning more coal has led to environmental consequences that were solved with technological improvements.
People still have this picture in their mind of a Dickensian coal plant belching pollution into the air. We have done a very good job in the developed countries of managing pollutants like sulfur, like nitrogen, like mercury, like ash, like particulates. The United States has successfully reduced criteria pollutants from power generation by roughly 90%. Now we face the next challenge, which is carbon. That one will be much, much harder.
Any fuel that came from living matter, coal, oil, natural gas, or even wood, they all contain carbon. When you burn that fuel, you get energy, water, and carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide emissions are a global problem. What happens anywhere in the world affects everybody else in the world because we all share the same atmosphere.
Humans have burned a lot of fossil fuel, especially coal, since the Industrial Revolution began.
Europe's carbon emissions, of course, increased a lot when they started to combust coal on big scale. So their carbon emissions continued to increase also with oil consumption, so it increased up until roughly 1970s. But after that, there has been actually a decline in carbon emissions in Europe.
The United States has also seen a leveling off of CO2 emissions as manufacturing declined and because we have retrofitted some coal-fired power plants to burn natural gas. In countries like China and India, as those countries' economies develop, they need more electricity. They're turning to the exact same place we turned in the 1800s, in the Industrial Revolution. They're turning to coal. That's because coal is readily available, it's cheap, the technologies are there.
75% of China's electricity is from coal. 70% of India's electricity is from coal.
Clearly the increase into the future of carbon emission is going to come from developing economies like India, like China, like Southeast Asia. A quarter of that population doesn't have electricity. They have the right to have electricity. So it's tough for us to ask them to clean up something where they haven't even got the minimum standards we regard as normal.
Demand for energy globally is expected to increase by more than 50% over the next 40 years.
Today, over 75% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuel. Over the next 40 years, there will continue to be 75% of the world's energy supplied by fossil fuel. That says that there'll be a tremendous amount of renewable energy deployed, certainly, but that fossil energy will continue to be the dominant force. Is CO2 a contributor to greenhouse gases? I believe that it is. Should it be mitigated? Certainly. We need to have good coal technologies that bring economic benefit and bring a sustainable footprint for the future. Those are the kinds of technologies that are going to make the biggest difference in this world's environmental footprint.